You're on the air. Okay, everybody, welcome to this call. I know that we've only got 99 people on, and we have a lot more that are going to be joining us. There did seem to be a slight bit of confusion, much to my chagrin, in people understanding which call to be on and what their role is. So I thought I would, okay, now already people are sending notes to each other, right? I should be able to hear you. Yes, you should be able to hear us. So I'm just going to ignore the chat for now. Okay, the program has a couple of components. First of all, congratulations. Your representative made it into this program. Of all the disappointed 5,000 people in Anaheim, you had some of the happy people of the 600 that got in the program. So good for you. The other thing that is so great for you is that this is the best thing that's going to ever have happened to your business, because you are going to have your representatives at your disposal for 12 weeks doing high-paying activity with a circle of accountability. Now, this is how the program works. For 12 weeks, they're going to do an online Brene Brown course. Everyone was so thrilled about that. I loved it. You know, when they just showed her picture without even her name and people were like going crazy, I was like, yes, this is so great, because it's reinforcing. You know, we had to pick one person to affiliate with, and I was a little nervous, you know, personally being the one that picked the one person, but John Blair agreed and good to go. Then every week for 12 weeks, they're going to spend 2 weeks on each module, each lesson. And in that time, their conversation coordinator and their pod of 8 other people at their level are going to be helping them with their personal growth, stepping out of their comfort zones, and moving into a place where they become braver. And every week, starting the second week of the course, they are going to have to commit to doing brave acts. And what are these brave acts? High-paying activities. What is your role? Helping them to do it. What's your normal role anyway? Helping them to do it. I like the going back and forth part. That's good. So, cracking myself up. So the whole deal here is, this is the best thing that ever happened to your business, because your people are going to be forced to deal with their issues with a great, great support from their pod, from their conversation coordinator, from you, because every week they're going to send you an email and they're copying their business partner. And in that email, they're going to outline the 3 brave acts they're doing that week, whether it's talk to Mary Smith about joining the team, or whether it's talk to Dr. So-and-so about taking a look at Juice Plus. You are going to be the third-party validator. You're going to be doing 3-way calls. You're going to be doing 3-way meetings. This person will be at the top of your list for 12 weeks of all your little children that you're dealing with. But it is going to pay off in spades, because it is going to teach people the basics of our business, which are 3-way calls. So when we set this all up, that's what your role is. Your role is to be with that person every week to help strategize about how we're going to talk to so-and-so about joining the team, or how we're going to bring someone into a Zoom call, or how we're going to have coffee with someone. You're going to help them put a strategy together, and then you're going to be that third-party validator. Because we know from Jay Martin the brilliance of validating 3 people in a conversation. So that's mainly what your role is. Your other part of your role is to attend once a month their business partner call. Now, this is going to elevate the whole business partner program, because finally they're going to have an upline person who's really, really invested in helping this person for 12 weeks, and everybody's going to form a circle of accountability and support for this representative. That's really all you have to do. The other thing is that the conversation coordinator, even though they are national marketing directors in our business, are not business coaches. Their whole job is to facilitate the comfort zone of people stepping out of their comfort zone, to hold people accountable to the things they're committing to. It's the personal growth aspect that the conversation coordinators are handling. They're not giving business advice. They're not doing PVC reports, nothing like that. So you don't have to worry about some influence of your conversation coordinator over some style of coaching that you prefer for your people. They're just there to help your people to step up into greatness, to really break through their barriers, and to really step into their own personal power as representatives and as leaders in the Juice Plus world. So that's really the whole role. Now tonight, we have some celebrities on the call, of which I am not one, and they are going to each do a segment on best practices that have to do with three-way calls, being a third-party validator, being a good sponsor. And we thought that this would be something that would really benefit you. So I'm going to kind of mute out at this point. Does someone remember who I said was going first?
Me!
Yes, Joy. Okay, so I'm going to mute out. And Joy, when you're finished, the next person will go.
Okay.
So
awesome. I'm going to time myself. And KJ, you are totally a celebrity. Everybody knows you around the Juice Plus world. You have totally become a celebrity.
A celebrity.
Yes. And, you know, I have to say that I came into this business as a kind of fitness celebrity. I was a national aerobics champion, and I competed on a team of 3. And at the time, you could only choose between individual competitions and team of 3. And I chose team of 3 because I was way too scared to compete as an individual. And I figured that being on a team of 3 would allow me to kind of hide, and it did not. It did not allow me to hide. In fact, it actually shone a spotlight on me where my weaknesses were, you know, greater than my 2 teammates. And so it forced me to become a much better competitor. And I see that in this business. Now, I've been in this business for 22 years, been a customer for 23 years, but I see in this business that as part of a team, the spotlight actually gets shown on me in a much bigger way, because when I don't hold up my end of the bargain, the team kind of falls apart. And so being part of that team, you know, the aerobics championship team, it it forced me to become a better competitor, a better person. And at the end of the day, you know, it really shaped me. I didn't like that process. It was painful. And I really liken that to what we're doing in this business. Because we were a team, we attracted much more attention than the individual competitors. So my team of 3, we were featured on the front of the step box, and we got all of the contracts, and we got everything that the individual competitors did not get, because we were working as a team. And it was painful for me because I was the weakest link of the team. It was painful, but it really, it just really shaped like who I was. And I see now my daughter, who many of you know, she's national marketing director. She's been a team competitor. She played 2 team sports in college, and she was never attracted to individual sports, even though being part of a team required her to be much more, to be a leader in a much bigger way. And I think it's allowed her to become a 39 Club member and to, you know, really be part of our team. So this concept of, okay, how do we create team? If you came from a team building background, like you were a competitor, you were an athlete, you already had that in your mind, but maybe you weren't the ringleader. You know, maybe you were just the person on the team that you admired the ringleader. This is your opportunity to be that ringleader. And I want to talk a little bit about the how. And so I'll talk about the why at the end, because I think that's a little bit more powerful, but I want to talk about the how right now, because I know we're going to talk about that in the rest of the call. So how you bring on team is to bring on your powerful team ahead of you. So even if you think you're not a powerful team leader, you've got Deanna Christopherson, Chris Jobs, Catherine Lee, you know, you've got all these powerful, Dougie B, you've got all these powerful team leaders ahead of you. So how we do this is we use 3-way calls. We also use accountability. And then we personally continue to recruit. And that's really, really important. And we continue to recruit by providing events. And this is a double-edged sword for a lot of people, because for a lot of us, we recruit that one team that they're really going for it. And then we think that our job is to go into management mode where we're going to now provide events. And it's this tricky, it's a slippery slope, this double-edged sword, where we need to provide the events for people, but we also personally need to be lighting the way, setting the example by inviting people to all of these events. And I'd like to tell the story of when Mitra recruited me. So it took her 9 months to recruit me. She saw an article about me in the Seattle Times, called me up. She was one of a million people that called me. She continued to follow up with me and invite me to events. But when she finally got me to an event, I really felt like a superstar. Like, oh, here I am. Wow. And the next week I came back to an event and I was all ready to be a superstar again, right? But Mitra had another superstar there. And I was so pissed. But I also like really got it. Like, oh my gosh, this is how this works. That I've got to be bringing team on, and I can't hang out and being the star anymore. If I want to build a really big business, I got to create a team full of superstars. So I really got that. And using the three-way calls, using accountability, personally recruiting people, using the events, and using conference events. And I just want to say a little bit about this because we just came off of conference. And for a lot of us, we use the corporately sponsored events that were there, and that's awesome. That's so great. But as you start to build a team, you want to start to think about what events are you creating for your team. Are you doing a newcomers lunch? Are you having a get-together on the first night that we get together? It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but are you getting people together and really being a leader so that you're building your team and bringing them into this concept, of what the conference is? So I think that that's really important. And I only have a couple more minutes left, but I just want to bring up 2 more things. So sorry, I have notes that I'm going by. I just want to give an example of 2 different teams that I have. One is a network, is a national marketing director leg that I have that has sponsored another national marketing director, and they have continued down. There's a bunch of national marketing directors on that team. And the top person on that team, and they have the same amount of volume as the next person that I'm going to talk about. They have the same amount of pay line. They have the same amount of, maybe not the same amount of qualifiers. I don't think they do quite, but they have the same amount of pay line. And the one team is making 1/3 of what the other team is making, who has multiple national marketing director lines. So one has one line that goes really deep. It's got the same amount of pay line. They're doing great. I love them. They're awesome. But the other team has 3 national marketing director legs, and that leg is making 3 times the amount that the other leg is making for the same amount of money. So I just want you to let that sink in. And then the last thing that I want to say to you is that Tanya Oxley, back when she was Tanya Hargraves, gave me some of the best training that I ever got. And it was all about looking at your 12-month analysis. So everybody on this call should be looking at their 12-month analysis. I don't care how young you are in this business, but you want your 12-month analysis to be shaped like a Christmas tree. Okay, so your first generation might be 1,000. Your second generation is 2,000. Your third generation is 4,000. Your fourth generation is 8,000. And your fifth generation is 16,000. That's the very basic way to look at it. And when I first started looking at this, it wasn't that way for me. I had a diamond and it sucked. It was like I didn't want to have a diamond. I wanted to have a Christmas tree. So look at your 12-month analysis right now. And whatever it is, start to visualize it being a Christmas tree, that each level should at least double, but really, in truth, it should increase 5-fold. So if your first generation is 1,000, your next generation should be 5,000, then 25,000, then 125,000, etc. And if you can start to visualize that and expect that of your team, you will see the power of creating a huge team that duplicates itself And, that's the whole name of this game. And I don't care if you're after creating, better health outcomes for people. Would you not rather affect 625,000 people than 1,000? Or if you're after creating a big income, wouldn't you rather have 5% of that 625,000? So building team is what it's all about. I don't care if you're an athlete. I don't care if you're, someone after changing the world, or you want to build a really big income. Creating team is where it's at. I'm all fired up now. I'm sweaty, and I'm going to turn it over to the next speaker.
And that would be me. Hi, everybody. It's Deanna Christofferson. And I'm going to point out that Doug Barlow is the way you don't want to do a Zoom event. KJ, I'm reading your mind. Doug, we see everything you're doing. I don't know if you hear us, and you have a great view. I don't know if that's beer or kombucha, but you might have a point to making us all jealous. I can't tell what that is because you're in front of a window, which is what we don't want to be in front of. So I'm just bagging on Doug because he knows I love him, and we all know that Doug is a crack up. So I can't wait to hear what you have to share, Doug. So I'm going to talk how to set up a three-way. I don't call them three-way calls. I call them three-way connections, because a three-way connection could be a call, it could be Zoom, or it could be meeting at a coffee shop or at somebody's home or whatever that is. So the bottom line is that what we want to have happen as success partners, because we're all success partners here and we're a smaller group or conversation coordinators, the goal is that we want to talk or get on connection calls with as many people as possible, with our people that are in this program and people outside of this program, quite frankly. I am not doing enough connections with my team, and I think it could be the verbiage. It could be the fear. There's lots of reasons why. I think prejudging is another huge thing as to why people don't invite us in to a connection, whatever that is. Oh, they don't want to do the business. Oh, I don't think the business is for them. And it's a real problem, because not that we're the magic. Your success partner is not the magic. It's the connection of another voice. It's another story. It's another person being an amener. It's a person that says, hey, wow, that person has their back. They're in buddies together, and I want some of that too. So when we set up three-way connections, it can be a little overwhelming for the National Marketing Director uplines with the success partner. So I personally have something called a sign-up genius. I know that Julie Herbst has a Google Calendar. I really recommend, if you don't have some type, and I'm talking about the success partners here, if you don't have some type of a calendar system where your team can go to a website and look and see what you have available, it's going to save you a ton of time. Like, for example, Mondays and Wednesdays from 11 to 4, my team knows they can go and sign up, whether it's a focus call or a connection call. And you can do 15-minute slots, 20-minute slots, 30-minute slots, hour slots, whatever you want to do. But when we're talking about a connection, it doesn't need to be more than 30 minutes. Ideally, about 20 minutes would be a better time frame, because us as success partners, if we have several people in our team that ask us to be success partners, that's going to be a lot of calls. I want to be on 2 or 3 calls with them a week, connecting with new prospective distributors, okay? So first of all, I want them to sign up that way. If they have a person that works full-time and that person has to do a call in the evening, then we agree on a time via Voxer. That's my means of communication. It works best for me. So you have to decide what is the best tool that you're gonna make these appointments for, because they have to be appointments. One thing that it drives me crazy is someone will call my cell phone, and I don't know why I answer it, but they've got somebody on the phone. I want you to talk to so-and-so. I know I have no background. I don't have any idea who they are, and I get really resentful. So please don't do that to your success partner. Set it up ahead of time. Not only are you going to set up the time ahead of time, you are also going to give that success partner, so now I'm talking to the team here who are part of this program, there's a potential distributor profile sheet that I will put on the Facebook in the file section, KJ, and I was waiting to do that until tonight, which really outlines for the success partner some background. What's that person's Juice Plus experience? Are they even on the product? You know, have they been on it for years or haven't even started? What has been their exposures? Have they been to a conference or have they never been to a thing? Have they watched a video? I want to know what they have had presented to them so I know where to go with our connection, or at least have some background. I want to know, are they married, kids, single, student, retired? That's really helpful for us as success partners. I want to know, what's their career? Are they a stay-at-home mom? Are they a teacher, a chiropractor, a healthcare professional? Whatever it is. It looks like I froze there for a second. Then what I want to know is, why are they agreeing to be on the call? You know, that all of these things, the more information I can have going into a connection call, the better successful that call will be. And that's what we want, is for you to have success. So then we have to teach verbiage to invite to a call. Because when you have a team, like I'll have, and this has happened before where I didn't do a good job teaching verbiage because they need to introduce you on a three-way call. And I'm sure Doug's going to talk about how to conduct a three-way call. But they'll say things like, you know, this is a rock star. They're a national marketing director, and they use all these network marketing terms, which can be very much of a turnoff. I want them to say, I would love for you to meet my friend. I would love for you to meet somebody that I work with. They know a little bit more about this than I do, and I would love for you guys to connect. She's a mom like you are. She's a healthcare professional like you are. Or how I want us, me and this person who we're going to do the three-way call with, I want to find out how we can connect. And I want them to share with their prospect how, oh, you are going to connect with Deanna because of all this background that you have in common. It's really helpful. So immediately when we get onto the call, I can say, oh my gosh, Julie, I'm so excited. You're a mom like I am. You're a health nut like I am. Or whatever it is that we have in common, immediately I am building a rapport with this person, and they see me as a person, not as the big closer. Because so many companies bring Big Daddy in or bring Big Mama in to close the deal, and they're afraid, and that's why they won't get on a connection, because they think they're going to be pushed into something. So we are people. We want to connect. We have servant's heart. So that's how you're going to, the verbiage you're going to give. And again, I'm talking to those of you who are going to utilize your success partners for a call is, I'd love for you to meet my friend. Like if it were Catherine, this is something I would say, oh my gosh, I would love for you to meet my friend Catherine. She has a servant's heart just like you do. She's been with our company for 22 years. She's a mom just like you. And she currently lives in Texas. I like to talk a little bit about maybe where they live. And what an amazing heart she has is she actually started this nonprofit. And I know your heart, from what I heard from Julie, is that you're all about nonprofit and you're all about helping support other organizations through your church or whatever it is. Again, finding common ground. Now, if this was a male 23-year-old, it's going to be a much different introduction than it is for a woman who's connecting with a woman. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at our audience, see the connection, get them excited about meeting your friend, either in person or on Zoom. And another thing, if they're intimidated by Zoom, and let's say this prospect for our team member is close by, have them come over and they can sit in front of the computer together side by side, and they can bring me into Zoom. That way, I prefer Zoom over a three-way call. That's just my preference, because I like to see people eyeball to eyeball. But that's just me. If you don't like that and you want to do the three-way call, that's great too. Or meeting in person, I think, is the best way. So that I think that connection calls, three-way calls, Zoom calls will build your business. Especially, I'll use one of our national marketing directors, who is the only national marketing director in Nebraska, Michaela Peterson. Her upline, Michelle Pitto, is in California. They built Michaela's business to national marketing director in 2 years by utilizing three-way calls. Because Michelle was never able to travel physically out there. That is the power of a three-way connection. So that's all I have to share. And I think next we have Mr. Doug Barlow. There he is. You're muted.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, Karen Jones. Welcome, everybody. And three ways. Yes, I have to say that the one thing that
she couldn't help herself.
the one thing I don't do enough of is three ways. I mean, for me, the most valuable thing that I can offer our team is my experience. And what, since it is a challenge to get people together, face to face sometimes, the three-way call is one of the most underutilized tools that we have. And I'm constantly telling people, like, I can't make you do a three-way, but I will encourage you. And I remember Mitra in the beginning when I would call her and I would start telling a story about this person and that person. And then she would say, well, what's her phone number? And then she'd say, hang on a second. And then she would just automatically three-way that person onto the call. And then I'd have to kind of just go, oh my gosh, here they are. And that's how I kind of got introduced to three ways. And while I don't know if I recommend that strategy to everyone, that's what it worked in the beginning. So in terms of conducting three-way calls, a little bit, I appreciated what Deanna said in terms of, setting it up for success. And I all too often, we don't communicate, hey, here's how best to introduce me. And they just say, oh, this person's done that or that person's done that. And they make me out to be this person that's bigger than life. And while that can be advantageous, I like to be more realistic in terms of, as Deanna mentioned, oh, hey, he's got 3 daughters, he loves the outdoors, blah, blah, blah. So it's important to get introduced in a certain way. And then once the call starts, as soon as they introduce me and turn the phone over, the number one thing that I, in running a three-way call is that person, I would appreciate the person who's brought their guest on to just be quiet. The last thing you want to do is have 2 people competing for the conversation and have the guest feel like they're being ganged up on. So I just like to kind of, they invited me onto the call so that I could share my experience and relate to them. I'm here to do the work for the person who initiated the three-way call. So once I get control of the conversation, the first thing that I'm going to do is turn around and emphasize how wonderful it is that this person has been introduced to our opportunity through, I'll use joy. It's like, wow, you've got a great sponsor, you've got a great person who's introduced you to this call. They care about the success of other people. They've been successful in their own right. And so I get to turn around and help that new person understand how valuable their sponsor is going to be to their success. And, I think the word is edification, but I just want the guest to understand how wonderful it is that they're going to have this opportunity to work with whoever that person is. I also like to take the time and thank them for their time to learn, for taking their time to learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we might have an opportunity that will address the issue that they have in life where they're dissatisfied. And in terms of what that issue is, even in spite of the fact that the person who's initiated the three-way, in spite of the fact they've told me, oh, this and that about their guest, I like to reconnect to make sure that they know that I know what's going on. So I'm going to ask what we call high-yielding questions. So in running the call, I want to get related to that person. I want to know what had them say yes to the call. I want to ask them, what's their biggest concern, with where they are in their life right now. If there was one thing that you could change in your life that would make all the difference, what would that be? So I like to ask lots of questions just to get related. What is your biggest challenge? As I said, if you could change one thing. So asking lots of questions, and not always jumping right to like, hey, this is what's going on, but getting clarification, because I think the most important thing about a three-way call that I can do for someone that I don't is have them understand that I am listening to their concerns. I am listening to their problems. I can get what's going on for them. And then I'll actually say, oh, wow. So like what I hear you saying is that you wish that you had a little more income coming into the household so that your husband didn't have to work as much so that you could spend more time together as a family. Is that the point that you're trying to make? So I want them to understand that I know what their issue is and why they're looking for alternatives or whatever our opportunity is, a plan B. So once I establish why they're on the call and what is their biggest challenge in life, I might take a moment to just say, well, great, like we've helped a lot of people with our program address whatever their issue is. So I'm going to let them know that, hey, we have a lot of success resolving these issues that people have. And then, I'll also ask, do you have any questions? Like, what is it that you would like to know more about? And what do you know about our program? And that leads me into, like, for me, I want to know, what is it that we have to deliver to you in as short a time window as possible? What do we have to deliver to you so that you actually realize this is addressing the issue we're addressing the issue that's the reason that you came into this program. So, is it a money thing? Like, I need to make $500 a month in the next 3 or 4 months. Like, we've got a program that does that. And maybe their goals are bigger and loftier, but you have to start somewhere. And I let people know right off, our fundamental model is that we teach the average person on a part-time basis how to generate an extra $500 to $1,000 of income by sharing the message of health, helping people create more free time in their life, and we also address cash flow. So I want to know what it is that I need to have them create so that I get their attention. And then I also want to know, how much time are you actually willing to devote to this? I think that the number one thing that I like to ask people is, okay, great, I get that this isn't working in your life, that's not working. What are you going to be willing to do in terms of making changes so that you're operating on a different level and you don't get more of the same? So I think those are, and that's probably getting a commitment from that person with the other person on the line, getting them to hear that, oh wow, okay, it's really important that I generate X amount of dollars in a certain amount of time for them. And most people are realistic. They don't, I think because of our culture, they know it's not going to be like, oh, I want to make $10,000 next month. $500 to $1,000 extra income a month, that makes a difference for everybody. So I like, my distributor to hear what that person's stated goal is and how much time they're willing to invest. Is it like a couple hours a day? Is it a couple hours a week? And to be able to say, well, we don't know what you're capable of doing yet, but we'll work on a program that will deliver what it is that you're looking for. And then in closing, I'll typically find out who they are and get all that information. And then at the very end, I'll just kind of maybe, I'll ask permission. Hey, we've talked a lot about you because you're the most important person on this call. And I appreciate you for taking the time and being willing to talk to someone that you don't know for your benefit. But is it okay if I take a little bit of time to share my experience in when I got started in this business and what it has done for me? I think for all of us on the call in terms of leadership, I'm not going to come out and say, oh, this is what we've done. But I think our biggest challenge, especially being in the business for all this time, is how to relate back to when we were brand new and what it was like and kind of the concerns we had and what we thought was going to be valuable information and all that good stuff. So I'm going to talk about, my journey a little bit and emphasize the things that are going to be most important for them, which is attending events, whether it's the Zoom call or the wine and wellness or the one-on-one. But I'm going to talk to them about creating that, what we call their event calendar, and get a commitment for them to, what events are you willing to do? Are you going to sign up? There's a couple of things that are non-negotiable. The first thing is the leadership conference. What are you doing the third weekend in October? I hope, you need to come to Indianapolis. Like, for us to work with you, you have to, we're going to commit our time and energy, and we want you to get the most out of it. So the leadership conference is a big thing. Can you make it to a boot camp during the summer? And then what are we going to do on a day? What are you going to do today that's going to create next week? What are you going to do this week that creates next week? What are the events? What is the consistent action that you're going to take day in, day out that actually proves to you that you can move towards this goal in that time window? And then with that, I'll just, in closing, I will, once I'm done talking, I will revert back to my distributor and ask them if there's anything that I didn't cover that they wanted to make sure that we covered. And as Deanna said, 30 minutes is plenty. If the call goes longer, maybe it's because they're asking questions and they're totally engaged, and maybe the call does go beyond an introduction. But whether it's an introduction call or a connection call, I like to do 3 ways to acknowledge people for, hey, congratulations, you got to virtual franchisee, woohoo. Do you know what you need to do to get to sales coordinator? Congratulations, you got a qualified business, so, and we're networkers. So for my distributor, I have to emphasize that, you're not going to be successful doing this business alone. And in spite of social media and the fact that you can do so much with so little effort these days, we are in the people business. So I'm just going to, at the end, just ask my distributor, is there anything that I didn't cover? Is there anything extra that you want me to cover? And then I'm just going to say, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you at whatever that event they're going to come to and meeting them in person, and then kind of keep it short and sweet and thank them for their time. And with that, I'm thankful that I got invited to participate in this program. And I think it's up to Chris Strobes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Well,
oh, I froze. Oh.
I will say that the 3-way call is unequivocally my favorite thing to do in this business. It has been from the very time I started. Since we've been home from Anaheim, the last couple of days, I've done 22 3-way connection calls. It is my most favorite thing to do. If we look at what's the purpose is to further establish the rapport with that person that they're bringing to the call. It's to edify that. It's to attract and to invite. So we use exactly what Deanna was talking about. We use the potential team member profile. If someone doesn't have that, I just tell them I need their name, I need their first name and their last name, I need an email address. How do they know them? Are they taking Juice Plus? If so, what products and for how long? Are there any children health study members? And they tell me what they know about that person. Now, when you do the 3-way call, I always start out with this. First of all, as Doug mentioned, there's so many different types of 3-way connection calls and attraction calls. It's to attract or to invite to the business. It's to invite to an upcoming event. Those are a lot of times impromptu calls. I call them gold mining calls. We call into the customer base. We thank people for referrals. We ask for referrals. There's a number of ways to do this, but it is the strongest relationship builder. I don't think anything's even close. I think the 3-way call is to your business what any video clip, the research summary, any YouTube video, anything that you can give a person regarding your product. That's how strong the 3-way call is and the value of it. Now, when I start a 3-way call, it's set up, I want to know about that person. So that potential team member profile is crucial. I can't just talk to air. Sometimes it'll be almost, can you do an impromptu 3-way call? If they can catch me or whatever, if it's with one of my frontline team that's really building out quickly, they'll say, I've got Jennifer, she's a dental hygienist, they'll give me a little bit of information, and certainly I will do that when I can do it. The preferred way is scheduled, mapping it out. You don't want it to be too long. When the invitation is extended, this is what I said, my sponsor, Cheryl Cortez, I said, I've aligned myself with the company that's found a way to put fruits and vegetables in a capsule form. People love it. The benefits are amazing. It's all backed by research. And I want you to see why I'm so excited about what I'm doing. So when that person comes to the call, everything is in place. On that potential team member profile, I can make that relationship better than when that person came to the phone, right? Because this person has told a complete stranger all these great things about them, how they know them, why they would like them to come into this business. They get to choose with whom they work. They choose them. They're a people person, whatever it is. So I would like to do a little bit of since I did 22 of these this week, I'm going to talk about a call to give you more of a role playing and a real feel of how this takes place. I get the email for a very good reason. When we finish the call, I ask them, is the next step, would they be comfortable with me sending them some information? And in the email, there's a couple quick little video clips, how Juice Plus is made, 2 or 3 things. So when we get on the call, I'm working from a profile. So I'm going to give an illustration of a call that I actually did today with Dr. Bonnie Schnauz, who's one of my national marketing directors, 24 Club, and one is going to move into 100 Club ASAP. So she is putting me in front of people constantly, nonstop. Now, this girl's name is Melissa, and a couple months back, she and her husband attended a Jay Martin event when he was in Evansville, Indiana. They're still not on the product. They own a business. They own a home-based business. He owns the business, and she works it with him, an executive recruiting company for the pharmaceutical and medical device industry. They don't have any benefits. They both have high integrity within the community. And so Bonnie knows this girl. She worked with her 17 years ago in the corporate arena. So she invited Melissa to a 3-way call, and she said, I'd love for you to see why I'm so excited about what I'm doing from a business standpoint. And I'm going to be on the phone with my friend and business partner, Chris, Thursday at whatever time we did this call. With somebody, Melissa, and I hope that person's going to be you. And she actually extended the invitation, I believe, last night. Like Deanna said, I always have these times mapped out. If people take my time, they fill it. Trust me, they fill it. So when I got on the phone with Melissa, I thanked her for coming to the call. I said, I have no idea if what we're going to share is going to be a fit for you or not. But as it goes, we don't know what we don't know until we know it. So having said that, I'd like to share a little bit with you. So I briefly introduced myself. I asked her about her children. She's got daughters. One of her daughters is doing an overseas study. She's in Barcelona. And I asked her, I said, oh, you work at home with this? Tell me a little bit about your business. So she said, well, we love our business, but the industry is changing dramatically. And now the pharmaceutical reps, et cetera, they're being 1099. And I said, are they being 1099 so that companies don't have to pay benefits? She said, yes. Well, Bonnie had told me a brass ring for her would be benefits because she's a business owner. So I said, well, that's one of the things that I love. That was the brass ring for me. I was the business owner and I had to pay for all of my own benefits. So I really relate to that. I said, so are you and Sean, her husband, are you in the market to create another stream of income? Bonnie tells me that you've known one another for 17 years, but as you come back together, she's also told me that you're very bright. You've got a lot of integrity. You're very well connected in the community. And is another stream of income something that you're looking for your family? She says, absolutely. We love to travel. We don't get to travel. We're really kind of locked and loaded with our business. We don't have that flexibility. So she had also looked at a couple of different network marketing companies over the years. And her husband was, okay, one of the things we're not going to do is direct sales or network marketing. So obviously that was a little bit of something to overcome. But Sean had gone with her to see Jay Martin, and then she had attended an event Bonnie did last night. Well, he opened the mind's like a parachute. It only works when it's open. I shared how close-minded I was, that Jeff Roberti had shared Juice Plus with me 6 times before I even added the product. And I went to a conference with great skepticism. My husband attended with me to make sure that I didn't become a distributor. And now we're both national marketing directors and both 100 Club members in our own rights. So here's a woman that's got the spirit of an entrepreneur, right? So I'm going to talk to the things that Bonnie has given me in this profile. And so then let me see, I'm just going to read this. She said she really wants not only the benefit package, but they really want the freedom. They want to have choices. They want choice in their life. So I talked about that, and I said, you know, in this business, we get to choose with whom we work. So as Bonnie and I work together every day, another concern was that there was not continued upline support. In other situations, we would go on application, distributors make money for sponsoring people, and then it's like, here you go, figure this out, figure out how to do this. So that was a reservation. So I made sure that I talked about the fact that Bonnie and I talk every single day, that we have contact and connection. So when I asked her, I said, Bonnie, who is the next person that you want on your team? Who's the next person that's going to be part of this mission? And so she said I want it to be Michelle. So obviously that's why we're speaking. And then I asked her a few more questions. We interact a little bit. Then I asked her, there's always got to be a next step. This is one thing that people leave out all the time. There's got to be that next step. So I asked her, I said, Michelle, I said, you know a little bit about our business. You've met Jay Martin. Don't you just love him? Isn't he the best storyteller in the world? You went to a little event with Bonnie. I said, but before people come on application, we put 100% of effort into building someone and helping them build whatever they want. My vision was big. And I say this because I know this woman already makes considerable money. And I said, if someone had asked me what would I do with another $500 or $1,000 a month, I would have said I'd buy another pair of shoes. This woman needed a big vision. If $500 or $1,000 a month, she would not even look at this. They make a lot of money. They work themselves like crazy. So I say that. I make it humorous, right? Make it lighthearted. But that throws more paint on the canvas. The $500 or $1,000 a month, Doug's right. It'll change anybody's life. But if someone is looking for something that's going to be, I like to paint the vision of a plan A as they're working on their plan B. I just do. That's the way I built this business. I always expected success. I knew it would work. I'd gone to a conference. I'd met enough 39 club members. That's way back when we only had the red 39 club ribbon. There was no 50, 75, or 100 club. And I talked to those people, and I knew they loved what they were doing. Ordinary people were making extraordinary income by helping other people. So then I asked Michelle, I said, we want you to have enough information so that you can make the best decision for your family. But we want you to have a vision for what this can be. And if this makes sense to you, we will match and model your energy always. We will be there to support you. There will be constant contact. We will teach you every aspect of this business. There's no reason to ever be stressed, be in a place of chaos or overwhelm. It will be matched and modeled according to what your vision is. So may I send you some more information via email so that you can see how we're paid. You can see the marketing plan. I'd love for you to see the research summary which shows what Juice Plus does for the body, the children's health study, the longer we take Juice Plus, whether we're children or adults, the benefits it adds to our body. So she'll say, of course. Well, Bonnie's giving me your email address. So I said, well, my name is Chris Drobes, and I've told her my story. I tell her, what I do is I tell my 60-second combined product and business story. So I'm instantly illustrating how simple our business is, that we can share what our product is and our business is in 60 seconds. So right away they feel, well, this is pretty simple. And I say, I'd like to share some of the simplicity of our business, what we do and how we do it. So my email will come, the email will come from chris@drobeswellness.com. I'll have a few attachments and all that. Today's Thursday. When do you think you'd have the information to review that so you'd be able to ask Bonnie whatever questions you have, or if you're ready to go, we're ready to go when you are. Today's Thursday. When do you want Bonnie to follow up? She said, I've got a couple of things going this weekend with the kids, but could she call me Monday morning? And I said, all right, Monday morning we have our national marketing director calls, but late in the morning or early afternoon, Bonnie will follow up with you, and you will learn a lot of things that you don't currently know. That I promise you. So when you're with Bonnie, when Bonnie calls back, the first thing she's want to know is, what did you like best about the information that you read or you watched or you heard? So Michelle, thank you very much for your time. Do you have any questions for me before we hang up? She had one or two questions. They're not relevant, too relevant. And I said, I really respect and honor that you have an interest in this, that you took your time to learn a little bit more. Bonnie isn't good at this, she's great at it. And so I do hope that the next time we talk, that it will be to welcome you to our Juice Plus family and welcome you to your Juice Plus business. And then that next step is in place, and then the ball is back in Bonnie's court. So that's essentially what we do, how we do it. Always make sure there's that next step so the ball is not dropped, the follow-up, the follow-through, what it's like. And pretty much that's it. That's why I can't wait to wake up every morning, and I've got 3-way calls to do every single day. So now I will turn it over to, I believe, our dear Catherine Lee is on.
Thank you so much, Chris. Okay, I'm going to call every single one of you and put you on a 3-way call with my next prospect. I just have to say, what a privilege to be on this panel. KJ, you are a celebrity, not a sub-celebrity, but I do have to say, guys, that I'm talking to you, the panelists right now. As we teach these people, we have such a privilege of learning ourselves. So for you guys now that have the ability to be a success partner, like KJ said at the beginning, you've always been a success partner. You just get to take it up a notch while your people take it up a notch. See what's going to happen here. I really want to explain that positive peer pressure that KJ was talking about, because your people are now going to have a circle of success around them. Have you ever felt like, oh, it's all up to me, or I'm not enough for that person? Well, forget that. Throw it all out the window, because it's not all up to you. And you're right. You're not enough. None of us are enough by ourselves. It's the power of community that brings people up. And that's what we have here. So your people are going to be getting on these calls each week. And we're, like KJ said, we're just there to facilitate their conversation, to keep the conversation going. Brene Brown is teaching them. And we're there to say, hey, well, talk more about that. Well, what are you going to tell your success partner about that? What are your 3 brave acts? You guys commit to each other. They're not committing to us. They're committing to their little circle of positive peer pressure, right? Anybody remember the ice bucket challenge where everyone was dumping ice water on themselves? That was positive peer pressure. Everyone wanted to be a part of something good, and everyone they put themselves in pain over it. And most people really didn't even understand the greater purpose. They just got caught up in the fun, and they progressed forward, and that's what's going to happen. And so they'll leave that call with their growth. They'll leave challenged. They will have shown up because the positive peer pressure expects them to show up. We're setting that up, and then we're sending them to you for their accountability, for their coaching. We are going to send them to you, and I want to share with you the power of not only positive peer pressure and community, because that takes all the pressure off of us to be everything to everyone. But then when the ball does get thrown to you, you get to set them up for great success by being their cheerleader and their coach, right? A cheerleader celebrates with them. Great job. It sounds like you're learning so much. I love these 3 brave acts that you're going to do this week. How can I support you? Who can I get on the call with? And you can use all these skills that everyone just taught you about what to say when you do get on the call and how to set it up for success. And then here's the thing. A cheerleader celebrates, but they also say, hey, that's all right. That's okay. We're going to beat them anyway, right? And that's when you turn to being a coach. A coach gives the business strategy for the win, right? Because a cheerleader can't necessarily give the strategy, but the coach can. So you put on your coach hat and you share with them success. And you can call on other people, just like we always have, to say, okay, I've got this person. What do I do next? Check with the other upline, but you're the facilitator of their success and their accountability. And I want to share with you something really powerful statistically. Accountability has to do not just with they're telling you what they're going to do, but they're checking back in and let you know what they've done. And that's when the business partner comes in now and completes that circle. So you have us, the people that are facilitating the conversation, Brene Brown, who is teaching, their podsters, the other people in their pod that are creating community with them to say, we're going to this together. They then have you to facilitate conversation and communication so they can succeed where they say they want to succeed. And then the business partner comes in to review it to see if they're on track for their goals. So here's the power of accountability, guys. When your person sets a goal, really checking in with them about, yes, you've set a goal. Well, now they have about a 10% chance of achieving that goal. This is statistics, studies about accountability. When they consciously decide, I am going to do it. It's not just an idea, but they say, I am going to do it. Now they have about a 25% chance of success. Well, that's not very good odds. But get this, when they say, I am going to commit to this and I'm going to commit to a plan, which we're helping them with, you're helping them with. In their pod, they're getting it. They're getting from the business partner. Now they have a plan. Now they're 50% more likely to achieve the goal. Then when you add that they're committing to all of us to doing it, not just to themselves, but they're committing to other people, it's 65% chance now. I'm going to Vegas, right? Now those odds I like. But get this is the key. And this is what KJ has done to put the key in the lock and unlock success, is they have accountability. When they say, not only am I going to do it, I am going to do it. I'm going to plan when I'm going to do it. I'm going to check in with you. But it's when they say, I'm checking back in with you and letting you know how it went, they have a 95% chance of having success with that goal. Why? Because they're going to get realistic and they're going to stretch out of their comfort zones because they don't want to let you down and they don't want to let themselves down. That's positive peer pressure for success. And that's what we get to provide. So I am just incredibly excited. I just think that this is an opportunity for all of us to come together with some of the deepest work. Brene Brown does some of the deepest work. If you compel Oprah to make you a household name when she has had the best of the best of the best, that's what Brene has to offer. Deep, powerful work with no fluff, just powerful research-based work, but with a ton of heart. And then we get to be the force that surrounds these people to rise them up. It's like I see Doug, it looks like he's on a boat. I think so. I know he's always by the water, but all tides rise, right? If we all rise, everyone is rising together. And so thank you for committing. Thank you, all of you panelists. I seriously learned from you. I've got verbiage already I'm dead serious when I say I am committing to myself. I'm going to have somebody on a three-way call with you guys at some point because this is so good. So I love our community. We're just getting better. And KJ, thank you again. Happy birthday. It's amazing. This was literally launched on your birthday yesterday. You couldn't have given a better gift to the world through you than the work you and John put into this. So I'm excited, guys. We're going to have a great time.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank all you panelists. Just to wrap this up at the very end here, did you notice how smooth they all were? Yes, they do have a higher intellect than most of us. But however, I'm teasing, they're smooth because they do this every day. It's second nature to them because of practice. The difference between them and you are that they've practiced more. That's it. This program is going to get you as good as they are because you're going to practice every week, at least 3 times a week. And some of you have several partners, team members in this program. So let's just cover a few things really quick. Deanna talked about the profile sheet. Amazing as it may be to all of you, it is on your virtual office. So you just have to go there to grab it. The other thing is what everyone's talking about the point of a 3-way call or a 3-way interaction is that you're building a bridge. It isn't your job to explain in detail every way that Juice Plus is processed or every intricate moment of this business. It's to build a bridge, the most important part. And if you build that bridge, people will come back and want more information. That's what I heard in everything they were saying. Making a match between something that this person needs or desires, or as Doug says, a dissatisfaction, and showing them how that we have something to answer that dilemma. And the last thing I just wanted to mention is there is a true value in doing some Zoom calls The one thing that you can point to about why the Aussies are just exploding is that they do so many three-way calls on Zoom. People are learning in Australia that there's a Zoom call at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. and midnight and whatever these times are, and they're throwing people on there. They're getting on with their prospects. So having appointments set up in advance, knowing where you can put your people and have these calls, maybe doing some Zoom calls, it's really the only thing they're doing different than we're doing, is that they're doing way more calls. And I think by the end of this program, we're going to show them a few things, in my opinion. So if you have any questions, you have any thoughts or whatever, you can always Voxer me. You can email me. I know that some people are feeling a little bit like, I haven't done much of this before, but I can tell you that just practice it. You know this stuff. You know what you're doing. Come from your heart. Set up your strategies like everybody has told you so you feel confident. And it's your confidence that's going to help these people in three-way calls. You don't have to know everything. Just have a system in place. Allow yourself to be confident. I think every one of you on this call is a national marketing director. Very few are not. And so you have that credibility behind you. Again, thank you to these panelists. I was taking notes. This is really good stuff. And maybe we'll do another one of these another time on a couple of other topics of interest. So one thing, Doug, I think people were requesting in that little chat, they were interested in your list of high-paying questions. Like you have a certain list of them. So if you just shoot that to me, I'll get that to them. If you do that, you can just talk them to me in Voxer, whatever's easier. So again, everybody, thank you so much, and let's get started.